Hi, Orange Girl here with another scrapbooking process video for you. I am super excited to partner with Audrey Yeager today. She is doing a summer scrapping series like she has done many summers, and I get to participate another year this year. I'm also working with some items that I purchased from the paper issue store and some free files. If you would like to purchase anything from the paper issue store, use the code Orange Girl and you get 20% off your order. So a bunch of the DT members got together and we decided to work with some of the free cut files. So this is going to go on a post on the blog using some free cut files that are summer themed. And so I grabbed this collection that I haven't had a chance to use yet, but I've had it in my stash for a while. And I cut out my title from that. I will link all of this stuff below, but I cut out my title from the free cut file. And this collection is by a company called P13, who I had not heard of until fairly recently. Maybe it was at Creativation, I think is when I first heard about them. And we carry in the paper issue store some of their products. In fact, Cassie has put some of their things into some of our kits that we've had, but you also can just buy them outright from the store. So this paper pad is a 6x8 paper pad, and it is by that company called P13, and I will link it below. And when I saw this paper, I knew that I was going to fussy cut as much as possible out of that, and I'm not going to make you watch it because boom, magic of YouTube, I have it all cut out for you. So you can see I spent some time off camera cutting the rest of that out. So now I'm going to use some Distress Oxides. I kind of decided after I'd already cut my cut file out of the white cardstock that I really didn't want a white title. So I grabbed a couple of Distress Oxides, one of them being this color that's kind of a peach color, and I'll link the actual color below. And the other one is a yellow color. You'll see that here in a second. And I use the two colors together to kind of create a look that matches the papers in this collection. So it's a very warm collection, and it's a very warm title now that I've created. So it says Paradise Found, and then there is a heart that is cut out of the center of what are those little things called? You know, they mark where you are. Anyway, I'll think of it maybe later. So I cut all these things out, and I'm going to use that yellow paper that is underneath my mat right now. That yellow paper is also by this same company, P13, and it was used, this paper I got in a kit from Cassie, and it's a 12x12 paper, and it comes from their birthday collection. And I am not using the other side, which has a lot of birthday stuff on it. I am using the side with this perfect yellow color to match. It's almost like a mustard yellow to match the collection that I am using. So I'm just going to use a strip of it, and I'm going to use a white background for the rest. In fact, I ended up conserving a little bit here, and I went ahead and I decided that I thought I could probably, if I put the photo in that location right there, that you can see part of the cut file, that I could quite possibly go ahead and use this same white cardstock as my background, which is what I ended up doing. So I'm going through and I'm looking at that 6x8 pad to see if there's anything maybe that I want to put behind my photo as layers, and I don't end up using any of those things. In fact, what you see here is all going to change in a little bit. But I like to show my whole process even if it drastically changes throughout my process of creating. So if you're new to my channel, I encourage you to check out some of my other process videos as well. I apologize that here in just a second I'm going to turn this, which I'm doing right now, and what happens is I don't realize that I am not on camera at the bottom. Now I left this in, and it doesn't really matter all that much because I'm just going to tell you what I was doing, and it changes again anyway. So what I end up doing, as once again I'm looking through that 6x8 pad to see if I can find something that I want to put behind the photograph, but I don't end up using any of that. So what I have done is I've put that strip horizontal now instead of vertical, and I am going to use that strip at the bottom, so I'm thinking. And then right along the strip, I've got all of these little flowers that I cut out, and I'm going to put these little flowers along where the strip of colored pattern paper meets my white cardstock. As I'm working on this, I like what I see, but I ended up deciding that I really wanted it to be the opposite direction. Mostly, to be honest, because I did not like the title above the photo like that. So here in a second, I'm going to flip my paper so that the colored cardstock is, or not cardstock, I'm sorry, the pattern paper is going to be on the top. So it'll go the pattern paper, and then where the pattern paper meets the white cardstock, I'm going to have all these pretty flowers. And I'll flip my photo so that it's right side up. Here we go. And then Paradise Found will be underneath the photo. And I like that so much better. So let's see. So Paradise Found is going to be my main title. But I went into if you watch my videos, you'll know that I don't like my titles or anything really to just be hanging out there without something kind of anchoring it, whether it be my titles or my journaling or whatever. And so I thought I could anchor it with these 3 little flowers that I put underneath. And then I'll add some more to that as well. In the packages of items that come in this collection, there are 2 different packages of banners. And those banners, one package has text on it, and one package doesn't. It more has patterns on it. So I chose one from both of those packs. So one has the same flowers on it, and then the other one has the word adventure, which I really liked the way that looked. So as usual, I'm going to put some just regular tissue paper behind my photo, and I like to do that because it just gives a little bit of space in between my photo and my background. I am also going to put some craft foam behind that to pop it up off the page. Everything else I think I glue pretty much straight down, not a lot of popping things up on this one. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my tape runner to glue down all of these little flowers. You can see that I cut out flowers of all sizes. I also cut out the green leaves to go with it, and I'm going to do all of that is going to go across the page. Here's where I'm putting the craft foam on the back of my photo just to kind of pop it up a little bit. And I know that's where I want it, so I wanted to stop my flowers and not waste the flowers behind the photo. So there you go. So let's see. What else have I done? So I've made a little cluster then at the bottom. So I have 2 of those little tags. They're kind of big tags, actually. I have 2 of those tags down at the bottom, and then I've put some flowers kind of around one side. So that brings the flowers from the top down to the bottom. And I cut out a ton of them, and so I had plenty. I even still have some left over, I think. So yeah, so now it's just the gluing. I did end up using a flower behind this, behind the heart of this, just to give another pop of color, and I like that it wasn't one solid color and it looked perfect, and I needed a little pop of that kind of orange in that area. So another thing that I do a lot on my layouts is I use tangled thread. So this is just regular thread, sewing thread, cheap thread that I like to put behind things just to add a little pop of color. So in this case, I'm going to put some behind my photo, above on the top of my photo, and then kind of on the bottom of my photo. And then my title, Paradise Found, is going to go kind of also on some of that tangled thread. It just kind of ties it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and use my liquid glue for this and go ahead and put down the title Paradise Found. And then I used a phrase sticker right underneath the word found. You could use that as an extension of the title if you wanted. But I mean, you know, however you want to look at it, that's your choice. And then I put these little flowers underneath it just to kind of bring those flowers down and around to the bottom. So I'm just going to add, now I'm going to add some more flowers to the bottom, and I'm making sure everything is straight because This is kind of a linear layout, and although I don't always care about things being straight, in this case, I felt like it needed to be that way. I added another phrase sticker underneath the word adventure, and now I'm going to get working on the bottom there. So this photo was taken when we were in Gulf Shores, Alabama, in early March, and it was right before we left. Alabama didn't have very many cases, and I live in Iowa, and we didn't have many cases. Like, when I say that, I mean like less than 10, I think, and no deaths when we left, and so either of those locations. And so we felt like we were staying in a house, and we would be pretty easily social distancing from others, and we, because it was a house, we were taking food with us, and so we didn't even really have to be out and about all that much except at the beach, and our beach is a private beach, and so we felt like it was still responsible to do so. We did end up coming back earlier when things kind of started to accelerate quickly over that week, and so I was worried about things, and so I was kind of trying to use art, I guess, I don't know, as a way to cope. And so I was taking some pictures and thinking about positive things that had happened on our trip and that I was noticing throughout the day. So I was really trying to focus on some things that were beautiful, or things that I noticed that I thought were positive. And so I was posting about those things on social media. This was one of the photographs that I took. It was such a beautiful photo. It was the sunset at the beach. There was pretty much no one there except us. And there was this beautiful, beautiful sunset, and you can't see the picture really well here, but in real life you can see how the sun is reflected also on the water, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And so I really wanted to scrap the picture. I'm not writing. I do usually put some journaling on my pages, but I'm not putting any journaling on this page because I feel like I've kind of already journaled about it on some other projects that I've made. But I still wanted to scrap this photo because I thought it was so pretty, and it went perfectly with the Paradise Found idea for a title. So you can see here I'm coming back in and noticing that there might be some spots that might need a little bit more of a pop of green. I added some tangled thread behind my cluster that I made kind of at the bottom of the page. I noticed that I actually put 4 of those same flowers in a row, and I do end up going back and fixing that later. I used some of the alphas to write Gulf Shores. They're really subtle, so I like the way that looked, and then I used a date stamp to date. I think I just dated it March. I don't think I even put the actual date that this photo was taken. And then I'm using some of those same Distress Oxides and watering them down and putting just a few little splatters across the page to connect kind of that top to bottom to make it be more connected. So then oftentimes I felt like it looked a little plain. And so a lot of times I do end up doing a lot of ripping on my pages. And so I decided that I really wanted to use this other beautiful floral paper on this layout, and I didn't end up using it because it just didn't work out as a layer. So I end up using it here. So I've just cut a little strip of it, and I'm gluing it onto that white cardstock, but I've ripped some of the yellow paper off, and I'm going to do the same down at the bottom. So I'm going to rip a little bit of the white cardstock. A little tip is I try to glue it first when I'm doing this because especially if you're going to do the whole top or the whole bottom or the whole side or whatever, I like to glue it first and then do the ripping so that you don't rip too much, or also so that it'll still say 12 by 12. So let's see. So I think that's about it. I'm just going to finish up making my rips look good and call it done. I do come back, I think, off camera and fix those little flowers so there aren't 4 right in a row. Most people probably wouldn't notice that, but it just bothered me. So I went back, and I can't remember if I did that on or off camera. Oh, I do remember this. I did end up popping up that phrase sticker. I thought it just looked then a little bit more like those flowers were kind of underneath the phrase sticker there. So I popped that up. And there we go, there's the final project. I really enjoyed working with this collection, this cut file, and I'm really thankful to Audrey for letting me participate with her again this year in her summer scrapping series. Make sure you look at her layout today and some of the other girls. This is going on for 2 weeks, so there's some really fun, it's a fun way to find new people to follow. So thanks a lot for stopping by, and I'll see you again in my next video.